Hello, and welcome to this informational segment on the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau Speaks Your Language, a segment on In Language 2 from the Bureau for Community Educators and Advocates. My name is Linda Williams. I am a Community Outreach and Training Manager with Consumer Action. We are an advocacy and educational organization. Today, we teamed up with the CFPB to bring you this segment on how the agency is strengthening information accessibility for consumers with limited English proficiency. Did you know that there are currently 7,105 languages spoken today? Yeah, 7,105. Now, while we tend to celebrate language diversity, we often forget its twin need, language access. According to the 2020 US Census, an estimated 8.3% of the US population are LEP speakers, individuals with limited English proficiency. Now, before I introduce you to our dynamic speakers, I would like to present you with a scenario that I would like for you to consider during their presentation. I want you to imagine that you saved enough money and you're taking your family on a well-deserved trip to France, to Paris. You speak a little French, but are not enough to brag about. But while in France, on your way to see the Eiffel Tower, a member of your family becomes ill. Your son, your daughter, your wife, husband, or mother. Knowing that accuracy is critical, are you comfortable conveying your family member's symptoms to a medical provider in France in French? Or would you be more comfortable communicating in English, telling that medical provider the symptoms that your family member is having in your native language? Joining us today to discuss what the CFPB is doing to strengthen information accessibility for consumers with limited English proficiency is David Locke and Christelle Roden. Both are consultants with the Office of Financial Education of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. David and Crystal, welcome. Please share with our audience what the CFPB is doing to make information more accessible for the LPI community.
Thanks for having us here today, Linda. We're excited to share our latest updates. Before I jump in, I do need to read a brief disclaimer. This presentation is being made by a Consumer Financial Protection Bureau representative on behalf of the Bureau. It does not constitute legal interpretation, guidance, or advice of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Any opinions or views stated by the presenters are the presenter's own and may not represent the Bureau's views. A little bit about our project. At the CFPB, we want to ensure that financial products and services are accessible to all consumers, including those with limited English proficiency. And that means first ensuring that our own resources are fair, equitable, and non-discriminatory. Since the CFPB was established in 2011, we have worked in accordance with Executive Order 13166, which requires all federal agencies to provide meaningful access of their information and services to the 25 million US residents with limited English proficiency. Historically, we've done this by releasing direct-to-consumer resources in 8 languages, in addition to English. However, in 2022, we decided to test if our resources were effective in meeting the needs of non-English speaking communities and in helping them navigate financial hardships. Over the last year, we conducted an outreach and research project to understand how to strengthen our resources for LEP consumers. This study included qualitative and quantitative analysis of the CFPB website, in-depth interviews with practitioners and intermediaries, focus groups in 6 languages, and user tests of new in-language web page prototypes based on what we learned. A little bit more context to the qualitative and quantitative studies. For website analytics, we analyzed 2 years worth of website data looking at who's visiting what pages, in what languages, and on what device. We also studied how long they're staying on the pages and interacting with them, and what the most popular topics were by language. We analyzed 1.5 years worth of consumer response data, who's submitting complaints, in what languages, and about what topics. We looked at conducting an updated language analysis using the latest census and FDIC data to understand the current LEP consumer market demographics, as well as looking at more than 10 federal agencies in terms of a landscape analysis, in which we did an in-depth study on 5 of them. For in-depth interviews, we conducted 12 IDIs with organizations working across the US and Puerto Rico, and who had existing familiarity with the Bureau's work. And then we also conducted focus groups in 6 languages, which we selected these languages based on 1, prioritizing non-Spanish languages given the extensive work already conducted for this group by the Bureau, and 2, prioritizing LEP communities of color given the additional systemic barriers faced in the US. Lastly, for usability tests, we used the inputs and insights generated from the consumer focus groups to prototype new in-language landing pages. We tested these web pages with consumers to understand elements such as quality of translations, appeal of imagery, iconography and content, and overall ease of navigating the site. We highlighted 4 key observations from this project to inform our language access work moving forward. First, we learned that LEP consumers are generally unaware of the existence of the CFPB. They're not visiting the website in large volumes, are submitting minimal complaints, and seem to turn to their friends, family, trusted community members and organizations, social media, or the internet to find information on financial matters. So there's work to be done to build awareness and understanding of what the CFPB is, what issues the CFPB provides resources and support for, and how LEP consumers can access help. Our second key observation was the practitioner and intermediary organizations that assist LEP consumers on financial matters are well positioned to help raise awareness and understanding about the CFPB. Strengthening these institutional relationships and lending support, such as bite-sized video and audio content to these community-based agencies, is key to reaching last-mile LEP consumers. Our third key observation was that demand is high for in-language content, especially for content in languages other than Spanish. While financial literacy among LEP consumers is reasonably high, lack of resources in their primary language can often force them to use unreliable third-party translation tools. We learned that translated content can often be difficult to understand because the words used are too formal or technical, especially for people with lower literacy levels. LEP consumers asked for the use of more culturally relevant speaking and writing styles, such as Taglish, a combination of Tagalog and English. They also asked for introductory information on more basic topics for people who are less familiar with how the US banking and financial system works. Lastly, we learned that study participants preferred mobile-friendly web pages with less dense text and more images or icons. They requested smaller bite-sized pieces of information in the form of short paragraphs, brief videos, or audio clips. Participants told us that adding English reference words in parentheses can help them look up the proper meaning of terms. Multilingual participants also suggested using similar layouts across the various language web pages to help them easily compare content. Participants shared that they are more likely to trust a web page that they can relate to, and they recommended using photos and testimonies from people who reflect their language group. Next, I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Christelle Roldan, who will discuss the opportunities identified by the Bureau.
Thank you, David. Based on the key observations that David just went through, we identified and have begun acting on a number of potential opportunities to better reach LEP consumers. First is the website. We want to continue efforts to build a best-in-class, culturally and linguistically accessible website that can serve as a one-stop resource for both LEP consumers and their practitioners and intermediaries that support them. This includes expanding the amount of in-language content available while making sure content meets the topical, cultural, and literacy needs of each language group. Some ideas include covering more basic topics about the US financial system, featuring LEP consumers in images for relevance, featuring testimonials, including more English terms for context. Second is marketing and outreach. We need to bring consumerfinance.gov and its resources to LEP consumers, and also more proactively draw LEP consumers to the website. We call this a surround sound approach because each LEP community is so different and diverse with different technology preferences, cultural context, language needs, social media uses, and trusted messengers. We feel this can be done in a number of ways, such as utilizing these trusted messengers that consist of leveraging community-based organizations and other authority figures to build CFPB brand presence and credibility. We could also use search engine marketing optimization to ensure the CFPB website shows up as a trusted authority in relevant searches. And lastly, paid and earned media utilizing in-language marketing and public awareness campaigns to reach LEP consumers where they are. Next, we want to talk about current progress. Consumerfinance.gov already offers content and resources in 8 languages besides English, including Arabic, Chinese, Haitian Creole, Korean, Russian, Spanish, Tagalog, and Vietnamese. The long-term goal, however, is to provide the same experience to LEP consumers as to our English-speaking consumers. The next few slides highlights the progress that we've made to date based on what we learned from this project. On February 14th of this year, we launched newly redesigned language landing pages, each with similar layouts that seek to make it easier to navigate the banking and financial system and include commonly used financial terms and acronyms. We have screen grabs and URLs on the next few slides showing these pages, as well as the URL for your reference. Revisions also include updated images and iconography to better reflect the community we're reaching, more bite-sized content in similar languages to aid comprehension. And additionally, the CFPB accepts complaints from consumers in 180 different languages about a financial product or service, and these redesigned landing pages provide a more detailed explanation of that process so consumers know what to expect. I'm just going to flip through a few of these so you can see the different languages, and you can see that they have a similar layout if people are toggling between languages. So at the CFPB, improving language access for LEP consumers and those assisting them with financial matters remains a long-term priority. We are excited to continue exploring ways to ensure all consumers have access to a safe, equitable financial marketplace. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Linda.
Great. Thank you, David and Christelle, for that great information. You're only a click away if you're interested in information on scam, identity theft, or investing. Go to our website, which is www.consumer-action.org. You can download our ID theft PowerPoint deck and our newly created fact sheets on investing. Specifically, get started putting money to work for you, investing for women, and investing for communities of color. In addition, you can sign up for our monthly Scamgram newsletter, which keep you abreast of all of the latest scams out there. And the one brochure that I believe should be in every home in America is our How to Complain booklet. Download it and share it with someone that you love today. If you're interested in contributing to consumer action, it's really, really easy. You can do it online, by credit card, or by using PayPal. Go to www.consumer-action.org/giving. Or you can mail a check to Consumer Action, Attention Membership Given, 57 Post Street, Suite 611, San Francisco, California. If you don't have a check, that's okay. No worries. You can still support us by subscribing to our YouTube channel. It's free and it would help us continue bringing great information like the segment today. I want to give a special thanks to the CFPB for providing today's informational session, and thank you again for tuning in. Please remember that language access is a human right, regardless to whether you are in France or the United States. Equal access to government services regarding of language ability is crucial to the health and safety of the communities where we live. Once again, thank you to our great speakers and thank you for tuning in. Goodbye and stay safe.